All right. We'll call the August 4th Select Board meeting to order. Just remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. First up is Warrant 2703 and Facilities Project 93.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have dated August 6, 2026, warrant number 2703 for payroll coming in at $767,371. You'll note overtime through all, not just police, fire, MELD, and DPW, but specifically a little higher on the fire side because they've been dealing with some personnel shortages. So we thank them as they try to work through that. For bills payable coming in at $5,281,619. A few items worth calling out there. You'll see about $2,700 for pole pad maintenance with elections coming up. For Cultural Council, you'll see a couple items: library copper metal smithing workshop and library magic show. Thank you to the Cultural Council for funding those programming activities down at the Flint. There's $5,690 for 53G consultant fees under inspections. Specifically, that's the support that we receive for peer review for 35 Village Road, an ongoing process, the schedule of which I'll outline a little bit later in my update. Some of the larger items you'll see moving down the line: insurance for the school line, $46,581. And the biggest piece here that really makes up a majority of that $5 million number is the just over $3 million Masco assessment. Additionally, you have the Facilities Project Warrant 93, a little light this time around, coming in at $24,599. A lot of outfitting items, so we're still going through final furniture deliveries and things like that, but a lot of smaller items you'll probably see coming around for FP 94, a little bit more construction, but we're going to continue tapering down with the majority of the work just being out on the green at this point in time.
The other thing I would point out is the almost 1.3 million for the generator that MELD, for the generator for this building that MELD funded. So we appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
So Justin, the consultant fees, we'll get reimbursed by the developer for that, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah. Motion?
I'll make a motion to accept warrant number 2703 and Facilities Project Warrant FP 93 as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have minutes from our open session of July 21st, the executive session of July 21st, and from April 7th to amend a typo that we did not catch the first time. Are there any questions or concerns?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to accept the minutes of July 21st, 2026 open session, July 21st, the executive session, and the amendment to the April 7th, 2026 minutes.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Justin, your update and report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A few items around town. Meade, Tallerman, and Costa joined us last week for a collective bargaining 101. It was held mostly with our department heads that operate within the confines of a collective bargaining agreement that have to typically deal with that with the personnel in their departments. Thank you to those that attended, and also to ATA Bresnahan for coordinating that effort. It was well attended. I have finalized the draft of the long-term management plan. Thank you to Chair Prentakis for reviewing it prior to distribution, and you'll be reviewing that in its entirety at your upcoming August 18th meeting. We have a meeting on the books later this month to meet with representatives from the EPA to talk a little bit more about the ongoing PFAS issues around our landfills in town. They're going to be giving us some guidance relative to that community project funding that was awarded a little over $1 million. So we're going to be trying to develop a plan to put that money to work. I've been working with Town Planner Carmer to implement a reset from the Master Plan Committee. I also met with the town moderator, Barbara Pacelli, to talk a little bit about logistics, seeing as she's the appointing authority, and it looks like we're probably going to hold a kickoff meeting sometime in the next month or so relative to that. They'll be meeting over the next, I'd say, 18 months or so. to put together a document. I've started to draft an RFP for Memorial Hall and the old Town Hall on Maple Street. I anticipate we'll probably have that roll out sometime in September, with responses due in October or early November. I want to try to stay away from getting too deep into the holiday season because people have a tendency to check out. So we'll have a draft on that coming up soon. We continue to have conversations with the town of Danvers relative to water, specifically future development in town and the use of water. There's an agenda item coming up at your August 18th meeting that will dig into that a little bit deeper. Superintendent Goodwin will be present for that as well, and we'll get hopefully some direction from the board once you have a little more information about what the circumstances are we're dealing with. The ZBA is going to be wrapping up their conversations surrounding a 35 Village Road project. That was the 200-unit residential 40B up there by the Ferncroft, with meetings coming up on September 3rd and September 24th. More than likely a decision expected to be released sometime before October. Our town clerk and staff have been hard at work prepping for the September 1st state primary. She's getting cued over there. Thanks, Chief. Early voting will be held on Saturday, August 22nd, Monday, August 24th, Tuesday, August 25th, Wednesday, August 26th, Thursday, August 27th, and Friday, August 28th. Times for each of those days are a little bit different, and it's posted on the town website. Our town clerk will also be hosting an accessibility fair. Is that the correct? Yes. And if you would like to speak to that a little bit, I think that'd be great.
Now?
Yeah, now's the time. And anything about elections as well. The floor is yours.
Sit here and do it, or you want me there in the hot seat?
Yeah, why not go up? Get your steps in.
We can capture you anywhere in the room because we have new technology.
No, I love it.
It's unnerving.
No, you can hear me talking, muttering under my breath now. Well, thank you for having me. Just a brief informational update for you all. So the purpose of my update is to inform you that we're one of 5 in the state hosting the Commonwealth's Accessibility Voting Equipment Vendor Fair. What does that mean? You've all seen them. It's that big, huge marking device that sits in the corner of the polling location, and it assists disabled voters. If they are hearing impaired, they can wear headphones, and it will read the ballot to them. If they're sight impaired, there's Braille. So it helps them. You're not voting there, you're just marking the ballot. That's all this does. Our AutoMARK is about 30 years old. Back in the day, there was federal funds for it, and they were paid for. That is no longer happening. The cities and towns are responsible. We would only need one. So the state has rolled out this idea of having fairs with 5 different vendors to come and let people try out these new assistive marking devices. So we'll extend it to the public can come in. There'll be clerks from all over the Commonwealth, election officials, coming in to try them out, because we'll give feedback to the Secretary of State's office, and Secretary Galvin will then ultimately decide which ones he'll certify, and then we will have to buy a new one.
And that would be in time for the November election, next year or some point.
Maybe for the presidential, maybe. This is really just the first step in a statewide process of replacing all these AutoMARK devices, and some cities and towns have many, many. I mean, this is going to be a huge expense for cities and towns. It's going to be an expense for us, but we only need one. We have one polling location. But these AutoMARKs have basically come to the end of their useful life. So we'll have all kinds of demonstrations, and we'll be able to ask questions, and we'll see what really fits for our community. Again, there's no federal funding, so it's looking like municipalities will have to fund it. if not all of it, maybe a portion, we'll see. The maintenance costs, hopefully, will be covered by the state. We're currently covered, other than an annual election when I pay for the programming of the ballot cards. So we'll see. It's to be determined. But I thought it was a good decision and a move on our part to host the state. We were one of 3. They've added 2 smaller ones out in the western part of the state because it's hard for clerks to get out here. So no decisions at this point, just sort of fact-finding. And the state came out and toured our complex, and they were very impressed, and I keep hearing from them. So I'm proud that we can do this. And
100%.
I'm happy to be a regional host community. Like I said, I expect a lot of officials across the state. We'll see who comes to visit. And we're just happy to partner with the elections division.
When is that going to?
It's going to be Monday, August 10th, between 11 and 2. And so I wanted to share that good news with you, and feel free to stop in. Should be a nice event. All right?
Thank you.
And elections. I think, Justin, you did a great job covering elections.
Thank
So early voting will be in this room. It'll be, as the schedule Justin detailed, it's our business hours, basically, in addition to the Saturday, we're here August 22nd from 9 to 5. So that'll kick off early voting, and it'll run through the week. And so that should be okay. And then there's state primaries September 1st from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It'll be down in the community room. And hopefully everything will go smoothly.
It always
sure it will.
does with
And
you
yeah, we
at the
had
helm.
nearly 800 mail-in ballots go out the door today.
Wow.
Do people have to be registered to vote by a certain date?
Oh, I thought you were going to say to vote. August 22nd, last day to register to vote. And I have advertised that now at this point everywhere. So,
I've seen it.
yeah,
It's well posted.
so hopefully we'll reach people. All right, any other questions?
Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you again
you.
for having me.
Job well done as usual.
Justin, anything else?
And then just one more final note, the annual opioid overdose awareness vigil is going to be hosted by both the Boxford and Middleton Health Departments on Wednesday, August 26th from 6 to 7 p.m. on the Flint Public Library lawn.
Any questions for Justin?
I do not.
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to our next item, which is an ambulance replacement update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have Chief Lacoste with us, if he's able to make it up to the, thank you. So as you may have been aware, and we had made reference pretty recently, there was an accident involving ambulance 1 on the highway a couple weeks ago now at this point. We received news back that the ambulance was totaled, unfortunately, so Chief Lacoste has been hard at work trying to devise a plan to find some way to fill the gap in between. So Chief, if you'd like to lay that out a little bit and I could fill in.
Yeah, so shortly after the incident, I had communications with Specialty Vehicles, which is the company that we've purchased the last probably 4 ambulances from. And so we're due to get a new ambulance in November. It was the ambulance we ordered roughly 3+ years ago. And the plan was, once that ambulance was delivered, they were gonna take our backup ambulance as a trade-in. So what he is willing to do is, once we get the new ambulance, he'll let us keep the current ambulance for as long as we need it. So the problem that we have is, what I'd like to do is move the box from the old ambulance to the new ambulance, but the problem is they can't do that until 2028. So once we get the new ambulance, we should be okay. The problem is what do we do from now till end of November, beginning of December? So he actually has a demo or a loaner ambulance that he can loan us, a short-term loan, that we could use from now until November when the new ambulance arrives. He'll then take that back and we'll keep the new ambulance and the old ambulance that was due to be traded in. So, once I've been in contact with the insurance company, he would buy the ambulance, the totaled ambulance, he would buy it as scrap, take it back to his location, strip it, take the box off, and then relocate the box on a new cabin chassis. So,
We'll have pretty much two, in a few years, we'll have two almost brand-new ambulances.
yeah, yeah. So that's, the silver lining, the ambulance was unoccupied, so there was not a patient in the ambulance when the accident occurred. However, one of the drivers, or the driver of the ambulance was injured, so he is currently out, but I guess it could have been worse, so.
So currently, we have one
So
operating.
currently, we have one ambulance.
So what has, since we've only had one, we had increased reliance on a mutual aid?
Yeah, unfortunately, yep.
So we don't use any private company?
I mean, we'll use pretty much whatever's available, so, North Reading, Linfield, Topsfield.
Not private companies, the other town.
If that's what they have to offer, yes. I mean, unfortunately, we're in a time where we can't really be picky. It's just, there's such a crunch on availability, resources that we,
So what happens if, so our ambulance, say, is on its way to Beverly Hospital?
Yep.
Does another town send a backup here to wait, or if,
No,
so if
so-
somebody's having an issue of a heart attack in Middleton, you have to get, someone has to come from North Reading or
correct.
Linfield?
But keep in mind that, more than a few years ago, we made our engine an ALS engine, so we actually have all the ALS equipment,
Oh, okay.
all the paramedic equipment on our engine, so we can start care, and then it's just a
Okay.
matter of an ambulance to transport to the hospital, so.
Yeah, well, that was
Good planning.
Yeah,
planning ahead, so.
yeah, so.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, the only note that I would add is there are some procurement logistics that we have to kind of work our way through. So I had a conversation late today with council, actually, and Chief, I apologize, I haven't had a chance to touch base. There is a way to do this. We just have to kind of make sure we're going about it the right way. And so I would ask of the board this evening is to authorize me to enter into an agreement that will have the same effect, but just grant me the latitude to work with council to find a way to do it legally.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just got a quick question. So we're ordering a replacement, obviously, for the totaled ambulance?
Yeah, I think what we should look at is, so we haven't gotten to the point where we've been talking numbers. Like I said, my goal would be to relocate, remount the old box onto a new cabin chassis. It's safe to assume that that's going to be cheaper than buying a brand new ambulance outright. But I think what we need to do is kind of compare the numbers to see if makes sense to do such. But we haven't gotten to that point yet where we've, talked numbers, so.
So that box wasn't damaged in the accident?
That is correct.
Okay.
From what I can see.
Okay. And what is the potential timeline for obtaining a new cabin chassis?
So,
It's not as long as ordering a new ambulance?
yeah, so I think it's not so much getting the cabin chassis, I think it's getting it into the assembly line to do whatever process they do to remount. As you know, we've been waiting over 3 years for our new ambulance, so there is unfortunately a delay. And I guess I was a bit surprised when he said 2028. But, that's what we're up against today, unfortunately, with apparatus. So I think we should look at both options, remounting versus just buying a brand new ambulance. I mean, I can tell you that the last ambulance we purchased was, I think, over $500,000, so it's.
Are we confident that the money the insurance company's offering us is a fair number?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's a specialized piece of equipment. I have no reason to not trust them, but I suppose we could see if there's a way to get a second
What
opinion.
year is the ambulance?
So the one that was damaged was
Yeah.
2020.
2020?
Yep.
What year's the backup?
2016, I believe.
So if they total the ambulance, won't the money, we can't reuse the box because it's been totaled and the money they give us represents the total.
Yeah, so basically the ambulance company would buy, the ambulance manufacturer, they would buy the truck, the scrap, they buy it as scrap. They would take it from our location down to their factory, strip it, and then
Right. So-
remount it, and then turn around and sell it to us.
So then they can tell us what they will sell it to us for with the new chassis, with the old box as compared to a whole new.
Yeah, they should be able to give us a number as to, what it would cost.
The one you're trading in that we're gonna hold for a while,
Yep.
just to compare numbers, you know what we got for a trade-in value for that versus what the insurance company's gonna pay for the totaled one, which
I'd
is
have to
newer?
look, I don't have the numbers in front of
That
me.
might be a good number to compare,
Yeah.
just to see.
Okay.
What was the status of the other operator?
The other operator was transported to the hospital, I believe minor injuries, but I haven't heard, so.
How many miles are on that?
Close to 100,000.
How about the backup, what that one got?
It's got over 100,000.
About the same or way more?
A little more, probably.
Okay. Any other questions? Brian, do you have anything else?
I do not. Thanks, Chief.
It would never make sense not to trade the backup and just keep it as a backup for what, just let the insurance company take that one and don't buy it back or whatever, and just keep, if the backup in the total one mileage is, I know it's a couple of years older, would it make sense to maybe keep that one as a backup for a few more years and then buy a new one in the normal cycle of buying an ambulance?
I mean, I guess we just have to keep in mind that, part of the agreement when we purchased this current ambulance that we're waiting for was we committed to trading that one in, so
Right.
I don't know, how that would work.
We should get more money for the 2020 than we were gonna get for the 2017. We should be able to put money in our pocket doing that because,
Yeah, I would say to that point, Jeff, given that we now have a fire facility that could house a third piece of equipment or a third ambulance compared to before, we could barely house what we had. Hopefully this never happens again, but this is a perfect example of, like, let's say something happened to another ambulance in the future. We were lucky that this organization had a loaner that we could lease from them. However, I could imagine if they didn't, we could be looking at a long period of time relying on mutual aid. So I wonder if, potentially keeping that on board for a period of time as a backup, I guess a backup, it might be a little more belt and suspenders. I mean, we'd have to look at what the additional cost is for insuring, understanding there'll be more maintenance on that than would be on newer ones, but it may be a worthwhile thing to look at and, potentially paying what the trade-in value would have been.
with the insurance money, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess, my biggest concern initially is the upkeep, the upkeep of such, so, but,
Once they hit a certain amount of miles, they kind of fall off a cliff.
yeah.
What on the police cars, you get to swap the equipment over, minding the styles haven't changed. Does having a backup, are we looking at having to purchase new equipment? How much is that, how much in the box is reusable that goes on to,
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a difference.
Then is that
There's
gonna be
keeping a
used on the
third-
new one?
There's keeping a third ambulance just as.
I guess my question is, of the totaled one, you're gonna swap the box on.
Yeah,
The new one coming has all the bells and whistles how much do we own of the equipment?
yeah, so I
that's in
mean,
there?
the majority of the equipment would be transferred over to the new truck. But I guess, like, for instance, the stretcher and the power load system, that's unfortunately coming to the end of its shelf life, so we probably have to look at
Yeah.
purchasing a new system there, so, but the other equipment, like the monitor and the bags and stuff, we
Right.
would just move from the old truck. to
So
the
if
new
we
truck.
had three, we'd have to buy all new equipment for inside.
Well, I
the
mean, I
lot.
guess it depends. If you're looking to keep a third truck stocked and in service, ready to go, or is it
Or
just
is
a
it just
third
that?
truck to, okay, truck's out of service, we gotta move everything over to the new truck, you know, to the spare truck, then there's two differences, so.
Yeah, all of this is good things to think about, but do we have time to make an informed decision about, before we finalize the new ambulance is coming in October, November?
Yeah.
Do we have until then to make a decision, or do we need to make a decision sooner than
I'm gonna
that?
trade it.
Well, the buyback trigger is delivery of the new vehicle, as I read the.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a little bit of time. I mean, you know, my first priority right now is getting a loaner in ASAP so that we have 2 ambulances in town. That's my first priority. And then we can just kind of figure out at some point, you know, which way we want to go as far as remounting that versus buying a new truck versus,
You know, keeping in there and having a third vehicle not equipped.
yeah.
So I could offer, Mr. Chair, you have a meeting on Tuesday, September 8th. So in the immediate, if we can get a vote on this loaner, which specifically the issue is that as the terms are presently laid out, we have to sell it back for $1. Legally, we can't do that. So we just have to rearrange it to be more lease oriented. But if we can address that this evening is the immediate. And then Chief, if you're agreeable to come back and maybe we can do an update at that September 8th meeting and we can run some of the numbers and get some of the data.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this loaner is from the company that we're buying the brand new one from, has nothing to do that we'd be obligated to rebuild the old one or anything. It's just that we get a new one coming in a few months and they're giving us a loaner. Oh, that's good. Perfect.
Yeah, and I guess what would, you know, what I envision happening is if, let's say we weren't interested in that, the old box to put on a new cabin chassis, he would buy it, he'll put it on a cabin chassis, and he'll probably flip it to somebody else if it's not us, so,
That would be, between him and the insurance company, we would be out of that.
yeah.
Okay. So is there a motion to?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve authorizing the town administrator to enter into an agreement to allow for the short-term lease of an ambulance.
Second.
Okay. Any other debate? Brian? Your vote?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yep.
And I'm a yes, so it's unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, next we have, public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address a topic not on the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to annual appointments. First up is a vacancy through June 30th, 2029 on the Rails to Trails Committee, and we have the applicant Charles Costigan. Charlie, can you come up and tell us about yourself and why you're interested in the appointment?
All right, thank you very much for having me. Charles Costigan, 50 Kenny Road. I've been on the rail trail before. I'm on the Rail Trail Alliance right now. I'm the vice president of the Rail Trail Alliance. I joined in 2019 with Mr. Cassiotis. We kind of restarted the rail trail, moving along with that. I did leave. I had to leave. I had some personal commitments. I actually built the house up in Maine, and I took a job over at St. John's Prep, so I need to kind of get acclimated with that. I enjoy, working with the team. I think we've made a lot of progress over the years. I think that the town really benefited from this, as other towns do. I've worked with Danvers also. Mr. Cassiotis and I have arranged meetings with Danvers, so we've taken a lot of ideas from Danvers, and Danvers has taken a lot of ideas from us too. So, I'd like to continue that now. I've kind of settled down a little and would enjoy the opportunity to get back on the rail trail.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for what you've done in the past.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And your willingness to
Yeah.
continue.
That's great.
Any questions for Charlie?
I do not.
If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a
I move that we
motion.
approve Charlie Costigan as a member of the Rails Trail Committee for a term through June 30th, 2029.
Second.
All right, Brian, your vote?
Big yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes, with thanks.
And I'm a yes, so it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget to get sworn in.
What's that?
Don't forget to get sworn in.
Okay, thank you very much for the
Still
opportunity.
here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you very much.
Downstairs, into the hall on the right.
All right, thank you again.
Charlie, thank you so much.
Next, we have an appointment to the Board of Health for a term through June 30th, 2029. We have 3 applicants, Tim Hooton, Annie Melia, Laura Vlasic. And we will start in alphabetical order with Tim. Thank you to all 3 of you for volunteering to serve on this board. So, Tim, could you tell us about yourself and why you're interested in this appointment and what you would bring to the Board of Health?
I think this is the first time in my life I've ever been first alphabetically. H usually doesn't get you near the front. So I'm Tim Hooton. I live at 180A Liberty Street. Former selectman, currently on the Electric Light Commission. Obviously, as you can see, I work on Tuesday nights, but the other nights of the week I have off. I saw that there was an opening on the Board of Health. In my job as city attorney for the city of Lawrence, I have a lot of interaction with the Board of Health and the health agents, probably a little more in depth than Middleton would do. For instance, we just engaged in a contract where we have students coming from Northeastern to be health agents to help around the city. We negotiated the contract. We do a lot of that. We have a lot of interagency agreements with like the city of Methuen and Dracut for shared services because there's just so much work here. I mean, we have Middleton. You have the one location for a food truck. In Lawrence, they're everywhere, and just keeping track of them and having the health agents out there protecting the city. And the restaurants, we have numerous restaurants. So I've been involved with that. So I thought that I could bring a little help to the town of Middleton and get back involved a little bit with the town.
Thank you. Any
Thank you,
questions
Tim.
for Tim?
I have one. It'll be the same question to all 3. It's not specific to you, Tim. Do you have any knowledge or experience with septic systems, how they work? And it seems like there's been a need on the board for some expertise in that.
Well, obviously, as I like to tell people, at my last house, I bought a Mercedes and buried it in my yard. But it was really just a $40,000 septic system I put in. So I had a lot of information with that. But yes, I mean, prior to being with the city, obviously I had a lot of dealings with clients, et cetera, people in town putting septic systems in, the need for it, the location, especially in Middleton, Lawrence, we don't have that problem because we obviously have storage and we have, town water, city water. And in Middleton, that's a big concern is the location of septic systems, the protection of the groundwater for people that do have pumps, the protection of the city water where you put it. But yes, have I dealt with it in the past couple of years? I would say not because Lawrence doesn't have them. But I do have a knowledge from my days of representing clients and representing homeowners, getting septic system put in. I said, as you know, I lived near the water supply at one point, and so the rules and regulations were very strict on where it could be, what it needed to be, and it was, as we all know, it was George Demerit that could walk you through everything, and George was very helpful and helping when I had it designed and implemented that, that they could go in there and, we could live in that location. So, yeah, in the past couple of years, probably not as much, but prior to that.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. Annie, would you tell us about yourself, your background, and why you're interested in this appointment and what you would bring to the board?
Yes, first of all, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and to apply for a position on the board. For those of you who I don't know, Annie Melia, and professionally for the last 20 years, I've been communicating complex healthcare information to various audiences. And I think that experience would be helpful to you all on the Board of Health. Related to community health improvement, I've managed parts of substantial grants from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, targeting improvements in care of cardiac health, bringing together hospital administrators, patients, doctors, nurses, all sorts of different parties to improve health in Detroit specifically back then. But I do have experience in that realm. I have also managed the day-to-day operations of a national healthcare policy database at Health Management Associates that communicated healthcare policy developments going on across the country to various businesses. I'm not as familiar with some of the septic and licensing work that the board is responsible for, but I'm eager to learn. I'm a fast learner. I have personal experience with that, as all Middleton residents. But most importantly, I'm passionate about being involved in my community. And one thing I love about Middleton is you guys are all very welcoming. I've gotten involved through the schools specifically. I've been on the PTO board. I was the director of communications for a couple of years. I've been on the new principal search committee, and I did chair the Middleton Advancement Coalition, which was focused on educating the community around the elementary school override, which was successful in 2025. So thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know.
So, any questions? Jeff, do you want?
I think you answered my question.
Okay. Any other questions for Annie?
I do not.
All right, thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
Laura? Yes. If you would come up by the mic and basically same questions, tell us about yourself, what your experience, why you want this position, and what you would bring to the board.
So my role is actually in the Board of Health right now. So right now I run the Health and Human Services Office for the City of Malden, where we offer wraparound services from the veterans to the health department. We cover all the food inspections, all the lead paint, everything that all health departments do, in addition to opiate and outreach. I handle all the grant funding for that, and I have an excellent team that goes out and does street walks and works at our T station and everything. And then we also work with the senior center and the youth center. So in Malden, it's a very big wraparound service. I did work at Malden years ago as an inspector. So that's actually, I started in Everett, but I trained in Malden and then went to a position in Malden. So I've done everything from, I'm fully licensed in lead paint, housing, food inspections, everything that's circumferences, everything that's in a health department. As far as septic systems, obviously like everyone else, I have a septic system because I live in Middleton, but I did train on septic systems in my time in Andover and North Andover. So I've assisted with that. So I'm very familiar with septics.
Is there a board of health in Malden?
Yes,
And
we have a 3-member board.
And what's your interaction with them?
So I report to my board monthly. Technically, my board, in addition to my mayor, obviously, are my superiors. So, but I would report everything to my board as far as from how many inspections were done to any cases, any hoarding cases, any houses that we have to condemn. So I'm the liaison that gives them all their information.
Okay. What do you think is a good relationship between a board of health and the department head?
Open communication. They have me all on, they text me, I text them. The rule, we have, like, we set rules on when we're gonna have meetings. Mm-hmm. So if I need a meeting, if they need a meeting, or if we get 3 requests for a meeting, that's how we have a meeting. Mm-hmm. But everything has to, and we have, because we're a 3-member board, in order to keep open meeting law, we can only text about certain things, as you're aware.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
You could just elaborate a little more on just if septic training, if you have any certifications. As Tim mentioned, George Demerit was very knowledgeable in septic, and whoever we appoint will take his seat. Can you elaborate a little more? Have you had any certification? Like what you said, training, what kind of training and
Well, I
septic?
never ended up taking the soil evaluators test because I went back to Malden, which doesn't have a septic system, but I had already done all the field work. Actually, I was in Tracy's class. We did the trainings together, which is our director of Board of Health. So not only did I go through all the trainings with her to get the test, which then I just changed town, so I didn't need it, but I've also done field work with the inspectors in Andover and North Andover.
Debbie, did you have a question?
Laura, how long were you in Andover and North Andover? Were you between both of them, or were you,
I subcontract as well,
okay.
so
both those
technically I'm in
communities-
Andover still,
Okay,
because I subcontract,
so that's on a need basis?
yes. Usually a couple of times a year in Andover, not a heavy demand.
In what capacity? Like, is it to do with
Yeah, I was
restaurants or public health? What?
Yep. Actually, yes, because I can do anything that is required. So I'm kind of like their backup person. So we all have shared services grants, which I'm sure you're aware of that. So Tracy shares services with other communities that if one of her inspectors or her nurse is out, she can call on one of the other communities to come in and help. So I'm like the backup to that plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. All right. Thank you, Laura. It was nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And at this point, would someone make a motion to place all three names in nomination?
So I'll move that we place Tim Hooton, Annie Melia, and Laura Vlasic in nomination for the Board of Health term through June 30th, 2029.
Second?
Okay. Brian, your vote?
My vote, first off, I just want to state, George Demerit's been mentioned a couple of times today. So to all three candidates, very big shoes to fill. George, for a long time, served this town very well, but more specifically on the Board of Health. So to Jeff's point, he was the go-to guy, in addition to the professional staff on the town. So I just want to call that out on George. Secondly, I'm pretty excited that we've actually got three really good candidates that want to serve. We don't always have that in town. I do want to state that I've worked with Annie in the past. I've seen her work both when she was at HMA and then later in previous companies, and I actually asked her to consider putting her hat in that ring. I appreciate her doing so, and for that reason, coupled by her experience, I'm going to be voting for Annie.
All right. Rick?
My vote, thank you, everyone, all three of you, all certainly qualified. My vote will be for Annie Melia.
Debbie?
First, I'd like to thank all three of you for stepping up and putting your hat in the ring. It sounds to me like you all have different experience for this board. With that being said, I'm going to vote for Annie also.
Jeff?
I'm going to vote for Tim Hooton as my vote.
All right, and I will, in a way, my vote doesn't matter, but I'll vote for Annie. So congratulations, Annie, Tim, and Laura. Thank you for volunteering. We have, other positions, that are vacant. If you take a look at them, if you're interested, please consider applying.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just want to say it was a pleasure to lose to such a great group. It's so nice to have, as you say, so many accomplished people, and it's I'm happy for the town.
All right. Thank you, Tim. You're
Thank you,
always very
Tim.
gracious.
And yes, thank you so much. And should I just reach out to Jackie in terms of follow-up and next steps?
Well, the next thing you have to do is to get sworn in by the town clerk. And I'm sure, Tracy Mello would be in contact with you about, your next Board of Health meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good evening, Laura.
Next would be going into executive session for a couple of different purposes, but before we do that, does anyone have any announcements or updates that they want to share with the public? All right,
I do not.
hearing none, I will go into executive session not to return. First, for under general laws, chapter 38, section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, namely the police chief contract. And then under general laws, chapter 38, section 21A6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, as I declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating positions of the public body. And this would be with regard to 65 North Main Street. Is there a motion to go into executive session for those two
Make
purposes?
that motion.
Is there a
So
second?
moved.
Brian,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We'll adjourn to executive session and we will not return to open session.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to confirm, okay.